Right, it's now time for Data Point. We're reflecting on the numbers as per Social Health Authority, what they have been doing the past few months. Remember, the rollout started on the 1st of October. And by that day, or the previous day, which was the 30th of September 2024, the closing balance from NHIF accounts was 1.48 billion shillings. At the time, between that time and November 2024, NHIF claims that were paid were 8.6 billion shillings, and the NHIF bank balances as of 20th of February, which is this year, was 11.2 billion shillings. So you realize that between the closing balance of 1.4 billion shillings and all these activities in terms of the claims that have been paid and the bank balance that is reported at 11.2, there are several transactions that could have taken place in terms of people that had delayed in remitting their finances or their contributions for NHIF. The claims payable, according to the Ministry of Health, is that as of 25th of February, the claims payable from the NHIF, which is no longer existent, were 24 billion shillings. And this is what the minister has been saying is work in progress in terms of clearing those numbers. Now, for the transition, the NHIF collection accounts were frozen in November 2024, leaving just one account to allow for organizations or people that had been late on their contributions for the previous periods. The collection account as of that time had an amount of 4.48 billion shillings, and the operations account has 6.7 billion shillings, which is giving the total that I just told you about, 11.2 billion shillings. So what happened after that? When it comes to the transition, is that on the 31st of January 2025, the collection account of the Social Health Authority had taken in some 20.9 billion shillings, but the bank accounts that were opened by the Social Health Authority were 6. So this is important. The collection account had received 20.9 billion shillings. 6 bank accounts six bank accounts have been opened for the Social Health Authority, different from the previous bank accounts of the NHIF. And also the M-Pesa pay bill that is under use is 200,222 for the Social Health Authority. Let's focus on something else that is important here, is the Social Health Authority bank accounts. So KCB, Cooperative Bank and Equity Bank, previously the NHIF was also using these banks, but the Social Health Authority opened new banks, that is, new bank accounts rather, with Sidian Bank, ABSA and DTB. And these are the figures showing that KCB has the lion's share of these contributions, so these collections at 9.9 billion shillings. Sidian Bank follows with 3.7 billion shillings, ABSA Bank with 2.5 billion shillings, Cooperative Bank accounts with 1.4 billion shillings, Equity with 889 million shillings, and DTB with 632 million shillings. Through M-Pesa, people that have made their contributions through M-Pesa is 1.6 billion shillings. And of course, this is according to the Ministry of Health. When it comes to the SHA collections, this is how they've been moving over that period. Remember, I told you that the rollout started on the 1st of October. The month of October, because of the confusion between NHIF and SHA, SHA was only able to collect 283 million shillings. In the month of November, it had a record collection of 7 billion shillings. In the month of December 2024, 6.8 billion shillings. And in the month of January, 6.6 billion shillings. So you can see there's a slight decline from the month of November, which appears to have been the peak. There's a slight decline. We don't know how it will be for the month of February. Remember that organizations and individuals must make that remittance by the 9th of the month of March for the contribution for February as the month. Now, in terms of payout, the Social Health Insurance Fund, that is SHIF, has made payouts of up to 16.9 billion shillings for the primary health care. Through Social Health Authority, the payout has been 1.3 billion shillings, which is in form of capitation. Remember, every individual in Kenya is allocated 900 shillings per year per person, which is the primary health care, and this capitation is sent to different hospitals that are offering those services of primary health care. The total claims paid so far is 18.2 billion shillings, which is a combination of both SHIF and primary healthcare payouts. Let's focus on something else, which is to do with comparing. This are the payouts now. For the month of November, 1.9 billion shillings. The month of December, 3.9 billion shillings. The month of January, 5.9 billion shillings. February, 5.1 billion shillings. So it has been a steep rise, now slightly going down. But of course, by the time this report was compiled, the month of February was not over. for the month of March. We'll wait to hear how that is looking like. So let's compare between the collections and the payouts. So again, the month of November, which is where we start, the collections were 7 billion shillings, but the payouts were 1.9 billion shillings. For December, you had a collection of 6.8 billion shillings, a payout of 3.9 billion shillings. January, the payout went up, but still not matching the collection of 6.6 billion shillings, with the payout at 5.9 billion shillings. Now, for the month of February, because by the time the Cabinet Secretary was submitting this report to the Senate, which is last week, the contributions for the collections for February were not in, but the payouts had already been at 5.1 billion shillings. Let's focus on something else that you need to know, that as of 20th of February 2025, the SHA membership, according to the Ministry of Health, was 19.7 million members. The transitioned clients were 4.1 million. This figure is important because you recall in this country not long ago, we were told that 9 million people had been transitioned from NHIF to the SHA Health Authority. Now, the figures from the SHA Health Authority are different, that the transition clients are just 4.1 million shillings, and the rest would appear to have come from the balance of registrations, and the dependents already enlisted are just about 4.8 million people, rather, which is interesting, bearing in mind the high population of young or dependents in the country. Now, what else do we want to know? As of 20th of February again, the clients that have been taken through the means testing instrument were 3.6 million. The average contribution for these particular people was 584 shillings, so which is interesting because you'd want, out of the 19.6 million registered clients, you want most of them to be taken through means testing instrument so that you know how much they should be contributing. With only 3.6 million taken through the tool, then it means that the contributions are going to be so low. But now, at some further analysis, for persons that are contributing between 251 shillings and 500 shillings per month, it is about 1.6 million of them, which is 43% of the entire means tested clients. Again, 251 is lower than the minimum, which is supposed to be 300. Contributors who are between 501 shillings and 1,000 shillings are 1.7 million, which is again 45%. So the difference would account for people that are contributing higher than that out of the means tested clients. And that is data point for this week.